Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Dan Rocky. Breaking news, Hex Trust stablecoin USDX is being listed on Bitmark exchange tomorrow. This also means that F Assets go live on Songbird is only days away. I've been waiting for F Assets to go live for so long, and that's going to bring some utility to Doge, to Bitcoin, even more utility to XRP as well. But all of a sudden, all eyes are on stablecoins. Everybody wants to have their own stablecoin all of a sudden. But I think the most regulated stablecoins have the best future. I still think RLUSD is going to outperform all of them. This comes from Smoke. Institutions are well aware that Gary delivered a farewell speech yesterday, as it is in the focus of many crypto research reports released this morning. Some reports even note that he may not enjoy a peaceful retirement due to the mounting lawsuit against him from several states. As one analysis puts it, Gary was right about one thing: elections have consequences. Everybody knows about the corruption that was going on at the SEC. You know, if Gary had more time at the SEC, we would be sitting here dragging our feet for another 4 years, and nothing would get done, and crypto regulations wouldn't be put in place, and the US would continue to fall behind the rest of the world. Unraveling US SEC Gov Chair Gary Gensler's crypto legacy may not be a rapid task, former agency lawyers say. Now, there's a lot of people saying that all of a sudden, once Gary's gone at the SEC, that all these court cases are going to end the same day. But people are now saying that this could be drug out all throughout 2025 with the lawsuit against Coinbase and others. Let's hope it ends quicker than most people are expecting. The SEC may have to slowly drag itself out of the legal mire with the crypto industry, even with an industry-friendly commission. Dropping existing cases would need a commission vote, lawyers say, and Republicans won't enjoy an SEC majority for a while. Coinbase's top lawyer says it's still counting on rapid action from the regulator. All we got to do is sit back and wait and see what happens from here. But don't expect big changes to happen overnight. The good thing is, the Ripple vs. SEC case, that's pretty much done. We are just waiting to see Brad pay the money, and then we get to move forward. When it comes to XRP, nothing's holding us back in this run. XRP is not a security. XRP is no longer part of the Ripple vs. SEC case. I remind people of that, because there's a lot of people still on X, spewing FUD, saying, oh, it's not going to move until that case is over. They're totally wrong. Goodbye, Gary. Ad campaign hits airwaves from CASE for America. Under Chairman Gensler, the SEC has become weaker, less effective, and less trusted by the American people. So now they have a place where you could go and sign a Goodbye Gary card to help Gary out the door. I think Gary just left such an impression, a bad impression on the crypto space, and anybody that's invested in crypto right now will never forget Gary Gensler's name. He's going to go down in the history books as the worst chair at the SEC. This comes from Chad Steingraber. BIS, IMF, cross-border, SWIFT, and the new world reserve currency. A world reserve currency under the control of one nation is unfair, and we as global bankers need to make the system more equal. we have a reserve currency at all when all transactions are moderated under our ledger anyway. The dollar is no longer any more easy to use for international trade than any other CBDC, right? They've always been calling for a level playing field. The BIS, the IMF, even the BRICS mention a level playing field where every country can now have their own currency compete with the rest of the world. The US dollar as a world's reserve currency was always part of the plan. They want to get rid of that and level the playing field, but they need something to replace it. I think they could have a world's bridge currency. Remember when David Schwartz said that there could be more than one reserve currency? Take a listen.
I do, and I think that could happen. I think it's quite realistic that a lot of the world is just done with the dollar as their reserve currency. And I think that there's a lot of places that are willing to try something else. And one of my scenarios, and I don't think it's going to play out quickly, but like one of my wild case success scenarios for a digital asset is if countries start to realize that the US dollar is not going to be the reserve currency forever. Other things are going to be the reserve currency. And the same thing that we saw with banks, like people, when we started selling software to banks, people would say to me, why would a bank use something that like you guys were selling them when they could use something that was like made by banks? And what they didn't realize is that, only like 10 banks in the country, on the planet, are Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase, like the ones who would build a system that the entire planet would run on. For the rest of the banks, that's 6,000 smaller banks, those are their biggest, strongest competitors. Those are the entities they hate the most. They would not want to use the system built and maintained by them because it's going to be biased in favor of them, their biggest and strongest competitors. And I think the same thing could happen to nations. Like every nation would love for their currency to be the world reserve currency. That's helped the U.S., that's grown the U.S. economy, quote unquote, unfairly by leaps and bounds for decades. And every other country would be like, yeah, we'd like to have the world be the world's reserve currency. But the only countries that could possibly pull it off is the U.S. holding its position, maybe the EU, maybe Russia, maybe one or two others. But realistically, most countries know that if there's going to be a new world reserve currency that's a country's currency, it's not going to be them. And so they might actually prefer a currency that nobody can control to one that's controlled by their largest geopolitical rivals. And so that's like what I think is the biggest possible success scenario for digital assets. If these countries are like, okay, well, the US dollar can't hold on forever, but it's not going to be our currency because no one's going to want to repeat the US dollar scenario. Nobody but the EU wants the EU to replace the dollar, right? Nobody but Russia wants the ruble to replace the dollar. Nobody but China wants the yuan to replace the dollar. So maybe they could settle on a currency that nobody could control rather than one controlled by their most powerful geopolitical rival.
So think about what XRP is built to do. And David, he made a great comparison there. Not only is XRP, it has the capability of leveling the playing field at the banks. RippleNet's technology also levels the playing field because it's technology that every single bank can utilize to be competitive to the biggest banks out there. Same thing could happen across the world. I always looked at XRP as the world's bridge currency because it could bridge anything of value. So you really don't need a world's reserve currency when you have a world's bridge asset like XRP. XLM could play a very big role here as well. It could be the people's money. This way, maybe the people that can transact with Stellar XLM all around the world. Because there's not really a big difference between XRP and XLM. So when David said there could be multiple world's reserve currencies, I think there could be multiple world's bridge currencies as well. But I always thought about that, and that's what the world really wants the most. They want a level playing field. HSBC and Dandelion partnered to modernize SWIFT-free cross-border payments. So it's not just the BRICS that are looking to break away from SWIFT. It's also companies, banks, they also want to break away from SWIFT. Now we know HSBC has worked with Ripple multiple times. And when they're talking about sending payments in a matter of seconds, you know they're utilizing RippleNet and XRP to do that. This collaboration marks a decisive shift away from traditional banking intermediaries, bypassing the SWIFT network, a messaging system that has dominated cross-border banking since the 1970s. Despite ongoing criticism over its complexity and cost. Drawing on Dandelion's direct-to-local connections, clients of the global banking group can now send funds to more than 100 destinations across 60 currencies. And they're doing this in a matter of seconds. And they're doing it without the high fees. And that's what XRP is built to do. Remove those high fees. So you see a need for banks wanting to break away from SWIFT. We're going to see more of that happen over time. And they're going to be utilizing RippleNet and XRP instead of using the broken SWIFT system. Standard Chartered partners with Wise Platform to enhance international payments. More growth for Standard Chartered as well. Also a Ripple partner. You take notice, it's non-stop growth, non-stop payment rails getting put in place everywhere. And XRP is going to be running on these rails. While everyone is focused on the price of XRP right now, growth is still happening in the background. Things are still building out. And, now it's just more exciting hearing news of expansion because it's only going to send the price higher over time. This comes from Marty Party. Breaking U.S. Bill S-4912 prohibits the federal government from seizing crypto from any person. Rules of construction. Nothing in this act shall be constructed to authorize the federal government to seize, confiscate, or otherwise impair any property right in the lawful acquired Bitcoin holdings of any person, or infringe upon the rights of individuals, businesses, or organizations to purchase, hold, transfer, or dispose of Bitcoin in accordance with the law. Affirmation of rights. This act affirms and protects the rights of persons to maintain full lawful control over the Bitcoin and other digital assets of those individuals, recognizing that the ability to maintain self-custody of private keys is fundamental to the principles of financial sovereignty, privacy, and personal liberty in the digital age. So the Fed is not going to take or seize your crypto. That was talked about a lot early on when I first got invested in XRP. I remember people saying, why even bother buying XRP when the federal government is eventually going to come and seize it from you? Well, now we know they're not going to be taking your XRP. And how would they seize it anyway? Most people don't even hold their XRP on the exchanges. Most people hold their own keys and their own crypto. This comes from Eleanor Tourette. Makes a lot of sense with Jay Clayton leading. Clayton, former SEC Gov Chair, is now an advisor to crypto custody and security platform Fireblocks and crypto investment firm One River Digital Asset Management, and speaks at various industry events. Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office to reduce its pursuit of crypto cases, prosecutor says. So all of a sudden, now Jay Clayton is crypto friendly as well. Remember, he's the guy who brought the Rippleverse SEC case. He's the one that started it back in December of 2020. Gary, if he wanted to do the right thing, he could have ended that case. Instead, he drug it out for the last 4 years. But going forward, it's going to be a very exciting time in crypto because we're going to see so much unfold over the coming months. even though we're going to have alt season and XRP is going to achieve some crazy numbers during alt season, I think we're also headed into a massive utility run. And if that happens, we will be seeing a 3-digit XRP quicker than most people think. Everybody's always pointing at market cap and previous cycles, but nobody, and I mean nobody, has seen a utility run yet. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.